So we just got back from Joshua Tree, like well within a couple weeks. It's been a little while. I'm still going through all my photos, which I never seemingly get through in a timely manner. I don't know how you process your stuff when you come back from a trip. Do you like go through and pick your favorites and process those, or are you kind of methodical and you start at the beginning of your timeline and move forward?
Um, it's a little bit of both, and sometimes what I do is I will photograph something based on how much time I think I have that day. Like for instance, if I have a large block of time, I might take one of the more complicated ones, and
Mm-hmm.
if not, then I'll go for, say, an interior shot, which is really easy and only takes a handful of minutes to do. So it kind of depends.
Yeah, I if I have a laptop and I'm sitting on the plane and I've got time, I'll go and pick my favorites. The ones that I was like really excited about in the field, like oh yeah, I got to see what this one looks like. I'm dying for it. And then when I get home, I kind of start going through the ones that I really like. But eventually, I'll get to a point where I'm already on to the next trip, and then there's a bunch of photos that I just didn't process. I'm still sitting on a bunch of photos from our trip to Kansas that I got to get through.
Yeah, same here.
It was a
Same
little
here.
while ago. Yeah.
Now,
So yeah.
what's interesting about the places that we're going to in Joshua Tree and Borrego Springs is that there's so much variety. And we had just done that trip. And so how much variety you have. I mean, you have dinosaurs, you have Joshua trees, you have
Hmm.
amazing rock formations, you have boulders, you have ruins such as Ryan Ranch. I mean, it just doesn't end.
Yeah, there's a quite a variety there. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people necessarily think of ruins when they think of Joshua Tree National Park, but there's that there.
And we'll be
We
visiting them.
Yeah, we're going to be there. So, in case you didn't know already, Ken and I are hosting a 5-night workshop event that's going to start in Joshua Tree. We're going to do 3 nights there, June 6th, 7th, and 8th. And it's right around the dark week. So it's going to be nice and dark, starry skies. It's going to be warm, but it's going to be worth it because the seasonality of the sky is going to be there for us. And then after that, we're going to zip down to Borrego Springs for 2 nights on the 9th and the 10th, the nights of the 9th and the 10th, and we're going to shoot the dinosaurs down there. So Ken and I just went out there to both of these locations last month. And so the first night we were there, we went to Ryan Ranch, which is one of those ruins that you had mentioned. And that's a nice walk to just get out there. There's a lot on the way as you're walking. It's flat trees
Oh,
and
there's so much
rocks.
variety there. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Tombstone Rock, which is this really odd rock formation that's famous with climbers. And
Mm-hmm.
there's Ryan Ranch itself with its smooth adobe walls and curved, curved rounded edges, which is just gorgeous. And so many rock formations, lots of beautiful clusters of Joshua trees. Fantastic place. You can photograph there
Yeah.
all evening just within 100 yards of Ryan Ranch.
Yeah, we spent a couple hours there. It was a little bit on the cloudy side that night, and that was okay. We were actually shooting during the moonlit week there, but you can get a lot out of it because there's just so much like heavy ground subject matter that although a great sky is going to make for a great composition, there's still enough around where if you didn't have that sky, it's actually okay.
And we have a little bit of elevation too, because where we're going to be is probably around 4,000 feet in elevation. So you have a little bit of elevation, which helps with the clarity of the starry night sky, the Milky Way, all of it.
Yeah, and if it's a little too warm for you, that's going to help take the edge off
That it
as,
will.
as well, which works against you in the winter months, but certainly helps out for June. So yeah, we did Ryan Ranch, and that was a lot of fun. There's tons of compositions there, and then the next night we ran over to Cap Rock, which isn't that far away,
No.
and no, and that's one of those places where you park, you jump right out of the car, and boom, you're photographing right away. There's just
It's
stuff
very
right there.
accessible. Yeah, there's about a half-mile loop, I believe, and
Hmm.
uh, more gorgeous scenery, more amazing rock formations, and more Joshua trees and more cacti, and just gorgeous. And it's a place full of history too. If you look it up, if you look that up and look up Graham Parsons.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I remembered it before we went, forgot about it while we were there, and then remembered after we left. I've got to try to remember while we're there about that. But yeah, read up on it. Maybe I can throw a link to a. I'm sure there's a wiki article somewhere as I can I can post. So that was fun, and then we went over to during the day. We went over and checked out Jumbo Rocks, which we've shot in before, and
Yeah.
Skull Rock. And there's a neat place across the street from Jumbo Rocks I don't think a lot of people know about. And there's this like creature looking rock formation. That whole area, if you use your imagination a little bit, you're going to see things. You're going to see faces in the rock faces. When we shot there in 2016, that's this like alien looking creature that looks like he has his hand up like this. And with the way the moonlight hits things and you start to get these shadows and your eye starts playing tricks on you, you start to see these really weird formation faces and animals and creatures. And what did
Well,
you
night.
liken it to? Like clouds, looking up at clouds?
Yeah, it's
It,
it's like it's like laying back on grass, laying on your back and looking up at the clouds
mm-hmm.
trying to see formations, whether you're seeing dragons or ice cream cones or whatever you're seeing. But
Yeah.
nighttime is such a great time to let your imagination run wild, and it can really affect the way you approach a composition and the way you light something. So
Mhm.
it's really an awesome opportunity.
This is a good like macro and medium range type of compositional photography in that, sometimes you'll go to a place like say Yosemite or one of these parks where it's like it's a massive composition. There's like a giant mountain in the back. There's a lake, this. But when you're in Joshua Tree and you're looking at all these little spots, there's a tree over here with a rock next to it. And then there's this rock and you could blast a shadow onto it from another tree. And so it really gets your brain working about these little micro compositions.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then and
Yeah.
then and then you have the glorious Milky Way arching overhead, and so all of that just comes together with this beautiful meeting of earth and sky.
It feels like an alien landscape. You're still on Earth, but you could almost feel like you're on Mars. And if you
Yeah.
wanted to film a movie and pretend you're like you're on another planet, then you could do that.
Oh, absolutely.
hmm Yeah, so we're really looking forward to it, and we're gonna do a group of 10. That's the max for this event. We're sensitive to the idea that you don't want to have too many people try to photograph the same general area, and for that reason, we're also going to be doing group splits. So, some people go this way, some people go that way, even at different locations, and then that way you'll get the most out of the opportunity with the least amount of interference. Yeah. So looking forward to that. And then the
We'll be
two
around to
nights.
help all the time also.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. It's a lot of learning. It's daytime. We got some daytime stuff planned. There's some
Yeah.
daytime education. If you're somebody who's like, hey, I like night photography. I don't know a lot about it. This is the event for you. If you're somebody who's like, I love night photography. I know a lot about it. This is for you too because you get to go out with a group and let's face it, 90% of the time, the biggest prohibitive circumstance for people is shooting by themselves, um, whether it's in your neighborhood or it's in a national park. And a lot of people, they don't want to go out and photograph completely alone, especially in an area with no cell phone service. So you don't have to worry about that in this
And
case.
actually, to address that lack of cell phone service, we're going to have radios for everyone.
Oh, I love my radios. I got a whole box of radios that I'm bringing. Yeah. It does help for emergency communications, but it also helps because, sometimes people are like, hey, I need some help over here. Can you help me with a light or, any one of those things? That's where I find it valuable, but that's what we're going to be there for. So it's not just let's go hang out and we'll be over here and let us know if
Oh
you
no,
want something. No,
oh
we
no,
don't we don't operate like that. Anybody
oh
who's
no.
been to one of our events know that we're pretty accessible and if anything, I'm always more concerned that I'm bothering people. Like just tell me you've had enough of me lurking around your camera gear, and I'll get out of there. So there's that, and then we're gonna pack it in and head down to Borrego Springs, which we also just visited, and check out the dinosaurs. There's 130 creatures out there, and Can you give us a condensed description or sales pitch on why this location is so interesting?
It's a dark sky community, and you have these enormous, larger than life dinosaurs and prehistoric creatures. So many prehistoric creatures. It's just honestly, it's one of my favorite places to photograph, and it is so much fun. And there's just no place like it on Earth.
We visited the serpent, or you call it the rattle dragon. Some people call
Hmm.
it serpent, um, desert snake, whatever you want to call it. This thing is huge because it kind of loops under it makes it look like it goes under the road and back up again.
It does.
Yeah. And I think you had mentioned at one point that this was the last sculpture that was installed by the artist
Yes.
there.
Yeah. That was the last one that was commissioned, and it's 350 feet long, and it's a dragon. But if you look at the end, it has a rattle at the
Mm-hmm.
end, hence rattle dragon. But whatever you want to call it, it's amazing. You will
Yeah.
never
And
photograph anything else like this.
no, and you cannot get a sense of scale of this thing
Oh, it is
through
enormous.
pictures. You have to go there because you can see pictures of it, but unless you find a picture with somebody standing in front of it, you don't know. I mean, I could stand. I'm about 5'9". I can stand directly underneath the mouth of the creature, and still
Mhm.
it's not hitting the top of my head. And there's a lot of that out there. There's they've got the battling dinosaurs out there, which is
Oh, yeah.
I think a T-Rex and a what was
Carnosaurus, I believe it is.
Carnosaurus, and they're life size. So I've got some pictures of them before where I'm pointing the camera straight up, and I'm
Right.
still not touching them. I'm not crouching down or anything. They're just there, which is at night feels a little intimidating. And then there's the Allosaurus.
Yeah, there's an
Uh,
Allosaurus nearby, just walking distance, and then
mhm.
tons of little velociraptors as well. So lots of things to photograph. And I was going to
Yeah,
say, what one of the things that you can do is you can get the Milky Way um, going between the battling dinosaurs.
that's right,
Pure
because
heaven.
they're aligned just right. Yeah, Borrego Springs, as you heard Ken mention, is a dark sky community, and there's a reason why, because it is kind of encompassed in these mountains. It's like a condensed town in what looks like a basin. And then in either direction you leave from, that's where you start encountering all the creatures, and some of the creatures you can see from the road. Some of them you got to get off road a little bit for. But the beauty of this spot is that everything that we're shooting is within like 10 minutes of wherever you're going to end up staying, wherever you
Right.
choose to stay, Airbnb, motel, whatever. It's all right there.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
dinosaurs, you have elephants, you have mammoths, you have horses, camelids, you have Gomphotheres, which are they're prehistoric elephant-like creatures with four tusks. You have battling borregos or rams. I mean, there's so much variety there.
There's even a metal Jeep.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's
There's a
right.
metal Jeep climbing a rock. And then there's, what's the other thing? There's the Padre.
Yeah,
I think he's got a cross, right? He's carrying
yeah,
a
yeah. He's
cross.
holding a cross. Now, the Padre is much larger than a Padre ordinarily would be. I mean, he's probably about twice the size of a regular human.
Yes, that's the last thing I shot. Now that I'm thinking of it, I've got to go
Yeah,
back and edit that photo. I think I did a Star Trail shot there. There's turtles, or
yeah, that's right.
tortoises, metal
Yeah.
tortoises. There's a giant, like, Native American head sticking out of the ground, like shoulders and up, and that's larger than life.
Hmm.
There's so much to mention. Like I said, 130, I think, is what I read, and I've probably seen 40 of them at the most. And they're all kind of spread out, but there's these pockets of condensed creatures, and that's where we're going to be photographing over the course of the 2 nights, again on the dark week. So
Yeah.
and low humidity, which is always great for this kind of stuff. It's going to be a great time.
Another place that aligns really well with the Milky Way is the scorpion and cricket.
Oh, right. I'll put
You
that
can have
photo up.
yeah, I had a
Mhm.
I had a photo of that, which was featured in Smithsonian Magazine a long time ago, and it was the Milky Way coming between the cricket and the scorpion.
Yeah, that's a great photo, and it's older by today's standards because you shot it a while back, where a lot
Yeah,
of people have
2000.
gone in. You're one of the originals, probably, huh?
Yeah, that was one of the earlier ones. I guess it was 2012 or 2013 or something like that.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard pressed to find another photo older than that. So that somebody else did. Yeah, so it'll be fun. So if you've got some time in June, and you want to do some Milky Way starry sky photography, star trails, light painting, here are two locations that really have no connection to each other than like a geographic distance. But that's why we paired them, because we thought, it's fun to go into a national park for a couple days. But after, you don't want to necessarily do it for 5 days, although maybe you could, but let's get some variety going here. So
There's
we'll shoot.
so much variety here.
Yeah, we'll shoot some Joshua trees and some cool rock formations and some ruins. And after that, we'll go shoot some dinosaurs and some scorpions and some Borregos and all sorts of stuff. And by the time you're done, you're going to have this ridiculously diverse portfolio of things that will look like you went on 6 different trips. So I hope you can join us. If you want more information, the website is capecodworkshops.com/JT for Joshua Tree. And you're going to see pretty much the whole rundown of what we plan on doing and where you can stay and so on. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always send us a message. But we hope you can join us. I think it's going to be a great creative opportunity for anybody of any skill level, really.
Yeah, please join us.